to Couch Casual, where casuals like me talk about casual things when it comes to football and basketball. Now, today we have the second part of my 2024 free agency predictions in the NFL. And today we have the running backs. We got 14 running backs and where I think they could go this offseason. Coming in at number 1, we have Ezekiel Elliott, former Patriots running back. Now, I don't think Zeke's going back to New England. And my pick is actually going to be, I have Zeke going to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs do not bring back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I think they need a quality backup behind Pacheco. So I think they give Zeke roughly a year, $3 million. Coming in at number 2, we have Cordell Patterson. I have him leaving the Atlanta Falcons and joining the Indianapolis Colts. Nice backup option for Jonathan Taylor. Nothing too expensive, just a 1 year, $2.5 million contract. Because I also have Zach Moss, former Colts running back, leaving the Colts, so they need to fill that spot. And I think they get Cordell Patterson. When it comes to the running backs, there's a lot of just switching around. One backup leaves, another backup leaves at a different team, and then they just interchange almost. Coming in at number 3, we have A.J. Dillon, Packers running back. Now, this kind of goes against everything I just said, but I have A.J. Dillon going back to Green Bay, signing a 2-year, $6 million contract. This may be a different pick. I think maybe a lot of people think he's going to leave. I don't know. I think the duo of him and A.J. Dillon is him and Aaron Jones is such a good mix, good balance of like power and elusiveness that I think they work well together. So I think they should bring him back. And then at number 4, we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I did mention before. I have him leaving the Chiefs, which is why I had him get Ezekiel Elliott. And I think that the Commanders are going to go and get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They got Brian Robinson, so they can back him up with Mr. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 1 year, $1.5 million contract, roughly. And then next up, we have Devin Singletary, former Texans backup. I have him going to the Patriots on a pretty nice contract, 3 years, $15 million. He just seems like a Patriots running back to me. Don't really know if that makes sense. He just feels like a Patriot. Moving on, we have Gus Edwards, former Ravens running back. Have him going to the Vikings, 1 year, $4 million. Nothing too special here. I like Gus Edwards, but the Ravens running back room's kind of full, almost. So I have him leaving and joining Minnesota backup Alexander Mattison, who I'm not quite sure how I feel about Madison as a running back yet, but I'm going to give him more time. We mentioned Zach Moss before. I have him going to the Bengals on a nice 2-year, $9 million contract. He stepped in when Jonathan Taylor was out, so I think he's going to go and team up with Mixon over in Cincinnati. Now we get to a little bit better running backs. These guys are all great too, but these are like where the real names are. J.K. Dobbins. I think he leaves Baltimore. I think Baltimore loses 2 running backs this year. Now, they could potentially be bringing another one in, but who knows? We'll have to talk about that later. But I have J.K. Dobbins going to the Eagles. Now, you probably know what that means when it comes to DeAndre Swift. But I have Dobbins going to the Eagles on a 2-year, $5 million contract. Yeah. We mentioned Swift. We mentioned the Eagles. I have DeAndre Swift leaving Philadelphia. He had a great year behind the Giants O-line. Eagles O-line. And I saw this happen before. Miles Sanders, great year, Philly. Leaves, gets a bag from the Panthers. Kind of disappears. As a Panther fan, that was tough to see. So I think it's going to repeat itself. Swift has a great year behind the Eagles' line, and he leaves, gets a big contract from the New York Giants, division rival, 4-year, $25 million contract. Next up, we have Austin Ekeler. Now, Austin Ekeler is a very interesting one because he had a very down year last year. He's getting up there in age, but he still can be one of the best receiving backs in football. And I do think he leaves the Chargers. I think he goes to Chicago. The Bears have a lot of money to spend. They could have a rookie quarterback in there. They could have a rookie receiver and more. I think they get either Fields or their rookie quarterback a safety valve. And what better safety valve in the pass game at running back position than Austin Ekeler, outside of Christian McCaffrey and maybe a guy like Alvin Kamara. Austin Ekeler is as sure as they come. And I think, despite his age, I think the Bears give him a 3-year deal, roughly $19 to $20 million. And then our next running back is Tony Pollard. There's been a lot of change. Only one running back stayed, and that's A.J. Dillon. But this may come as a surprise. I think Tony Pollard stays with Dallas. Only 2 years, not a lot, but I have him about 2 years, $13 million. Stays in Dallas. I'm not quite sure on this. I don't know if he stays in Dallas. I don't know if he takes only a 2-year deal because he is young. I think this is his first year hitting free agency, coming off that rookie contract. But I think he only gets a 2-year because he also did have a down year as well. But let me know what you think about that one because I think that's my most surprising one. And then coming in next, that is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry made that whole speech of leaving the Titans. So he's not going back. Now, I low-key could see a world where he does come back. But just for this prediction, I'm going to have him leave because I think that's what is like supposed to happen. Now, that may not happen, but I think he's supposed to be leaving based on everything that's happened. We mentioned the Ravens losing 2 running backs. I don't think that's going to matter because I have Derrick Henry teaming up with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. 2 years, $18 million. Would be the best backfield in the NFL. Running back, quarterback. You let me know who's who because Derrick Henry is pretty good at throwing the ball for a running back. And Lamar, we all know what he can do. So I don't know who's the quarterback in this situation, but I have Derrick Henry headed to Baltimore. Now, Josh Jacobs is next. Josh Jacobs is a tricky one. I think there's no world where he comes back to Las Vegas. I don't actually think I had the Raiders acquiring any of these running backs, so we'll see if they can fill that hole. But I have Josh Jacobs headed to the Texans. I think there was this report that the Texans want to prioritize getting Stroud, an elite running back. Now, I don't think they go after Derrick Henry. I don't think they get Tony Pollard. But Josh Jacobs is pretty good. So I'm going to have the Texans sign Josh Jacobs to a pretty big contract as well. I think the biggest contract on this list. 4 years, $38 million. Because they don't really need to prioritize receiver. Obviously, if they can get one, that would be fantastic. Give Stroud all the help he can get. But I think they're going to go after a running back over receiver. So I have him getting Josh Jacobs from the Raiders going to Houston. And now the last running back on the list, the most intriguing running back on the list, Saquon Barkley. Seems like the Giants aren't even going to franchise tag Saquon. Saquon's been a big component of this running back, paying running backs, trading running backs, whole debate. And the Giants haven't really given him what he probably deserves, being one of the best running backs in football when healthy, the most elusive running back when healthy. Maybe not, but he's up there. Now, there's one team that hasn't gotten mentioned. One team that lost a pretty big name at the running back position. A team that had a running back have a down year, so they're moving on. He's a bit on the older side. Not Derrick Henry. It was Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler left what team? He left the Chargers. I think, now this isn't no crazy take or anything, but I think Saquon Barkley signs with the Chargers. Him, Justin Herbert, Harbaugh. I think they create. Now, I mentioned how Henry and Lamar might be the best backfield in the NFL. But maybe if this happens, it may be Herbert and Saquon. I'm still taking Derrick Henry and Lamar. But Herbert and Saquon's pretty darn good. I have Saquon. A nice 3-year, $30 million deal. Now, the total salary isn't as much as Josh Jacobs, but the yearly salary is the most. Saquon gets what he's been wanting, gets his money, gets his contract, and he gets to go to LA to play for Mr. Harbaugh. And that is going to do it for my 2024 free agency predictions running back edition. Make sure you guys like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss more amazing NFL content, potentially NBA, and maybe not even NBA or NFL content. And also, make sure you comment and let me know what you want to see later and in the future. We'll obviously be bringing more NFL offseason content when the NBA playoffs rolls around. We'll do some stuff with that. But let me know what else you want to see, because it doesn't have to be strictly prediction videos and mock drafts. It can be more. Just let me know. Thanks for listening.